Is it possible to go 0-12 one year but 17-0 the next, winning a national championship? That's what I'll be doing over and over again in this video until we're successful, at least I think. It might not be possible. And the rules are pretty simple. I can start with any team. It has to be on Heisman difficulty. I'm allowed to change games on the schedule that are unlocked, but I can't force any losses. We have to go 0-12 and then 17-0 immediately. I'll still allow myself to play 3 games a year, but I have to sim the rest and I'm already stuck. The first decision that we have to make is deciding which team we want to attempt this with first. I thought that Purdue could be a good option for us because we could get to 0-12, but then we have to go to 17-0 immediately, and that's going to be a challenge. So it actually might be easier on us if our first attempts were with a school like Akron. It looks like they have a strategist head coach, and if this doesn't work out, again, we can change what team we attempt this with. But considering the program history of the Zips in football, I don't think it's going to be hard for us to get to 0-12 because they went 0-12 back in 2019. The only problem I could see us running into is since I can only change the non-conference games since these are locked, we're probably going to end up beating 1 or 2 of these schools in the MAC during sim. And just take a look at some of the matchups I've put Akron up against before we do get to conference play. I mean, when we take a look at their roster, their best players at tight end is an 83 overall. They have a quarterback that is just a 74. So this feels like a great starting point for attempt number 1, and we're just going to see where we're sitting once we get farther into the season. Well, just like we expected, we got blown out by those tough teams that we could put on our schedule, but unfortunately, this is where the 0-12 part of the challenge is actually a little bit of a problem for us because we've won 3 conference games. It doesn't matter if I hop into these final 3 matchups. I feel like this is something that we can learn from though, so instead of starting quarterback Ben Finley as we go for attempt number 2, we're going to start the 68 overall true freshman. I'm just hoping that by the time we get to week 10 this time around, we're actually sitting there with no losses. You know, that time around I thought we might have found that solution that was going to keep us winless, but we still beat Miami University, scoring 66 points on their head, so there's no hope of going 0-12 with attempt 2. But I decided that since we were so close to being winless that we should just run things back. And when doing that, we beat Buffalo 23-21, so we're still not able to get it. I decided to run it back again though, and I see that we're getting a receiver winning player of the week. So guess what? Even though Georgia beat us worse than anybody has beat us before, we took down Buffalo again and picked up a second win, which lets me know that just having the 4th string quarterback starting for us is not enough for us to go 0-12. We also need to put in the worst player at every single position. I mean, we're going to have some 53 overalls out there starting for us. There's just no way that we happen to win a game. And it turns out that was the answer that we needed because as you can see, we lost to Buffalo 45-14 this year. We are 0-9 and all we have to do is lose these final 3 games. Since I can hop into 3 regular season matchups, that should not be an issue for us at all. Though I'm really not sure if Akron's going to be that team that we're going to be able to turn into a 17-0 program. I will say fans are going to absolutely despise me as a coach until we can do that because, like I said, it's going to be super easy to lose games. But it's the other side of this challenge that's so difficult, being able to go undefeated, especially once you get to the playoff. After making sure that we lost our final 2 games, we have done the first step of this challenge, go 0-12. But another drawback of doing that is you know that there's going to be so many players that want to transfer out of Akron, which means we have to completely rebuild this roster through just the transfer portal. I'm not going to sit here and act like I've been recruiting because there's really no point of the players that would be interested in our school. They're 1 and 2 stars. The transfer portal should have better options aligned for us. But it did just hit me that since we went 0-12 with Akron and they're already a half school prestige, they are going to have like no hours to spend during the portal. I think that's something that we might be able to overlook though if we have a pretty good coaching staff. Joe Moorhead, our head coach, he doesn't have anything great on the recruiter side. Our coordinators are also pretty disappointing. And they are definitely not national championship quality, which means we're going to be firing both of them and seeing if there's better options. I don't know why a level 29 would even be willing to consider Akron, but Wheeler is a talent developer, so this would be super big for us progressing. And I think if we can find any success in this quick turnaround, it could help a lot of you all for your online dynasties against your friends. I mean, Ryan Beard isn't a great defensive coordinator, but he is the highest level that we can get. And what really matters is did we get our offensive coordinator, which we did. Steve Wheeler is an amazing pull. I've done everything that I can to lay the foundation for this team. The goal is next season that we're going to be undefeated, that we're going to be in this playoff picture. But I will say this, if we can't get things to work out with Akron this time around, especially depending on the players that are transferring out, we're going to go back and do attempt number 6 with a new school because I think there could be better options out there still. I mean, between all those transfers and these seniors graduating, we lost 40, 50 players. And I have to really sit here staring down this roster and figure out what positions are a major need for us and what ones we can slack on since we don't have that many hours to spend. As a 0-star prestige though, we only get 375 hours. These school grades are awful, so it's not like we're going to be able to pitch anybody to come to Akron if we get any competition. And I think what my hope has to be is there's 3-star transfers that are still interested in the Zips, but there are none. I mean, we could go after 2-star transfers, but most of them are just linebackers, so I'm not sure how much that'll help us. And the plan for these first 16 players is literally just hope that nobody else goes after them, because then they would automatically commit. For the rest of our board, I'm just going to add any transfers that are 3 stars that most likely won't be recruited by other schools, but as you can see, most of the 3-star transfers have a deal breaker that won't even allow them to come to Akron. The only reason I even think I could complete this challenge is I've done a lot of rebuilds on this channel. I've probably recruited every player that enters the transfer portal at some point because I like to keep it fresh. I don't like to recruit the same guys over and over. So I know for a fact that these 3 edges I just put on our board are going to be very good, but we have to still be able to land them, which seems to be a big challenge. I also just can't believe how few players are interested in playing for us. There is one free safety of all the 3-star transfers we're scrolling through that would consider the Zips. By the time that I'm done distributing our 375 hours, this is what our starting board looks like. I'm expecting we're going to have to remove most of these guys after we sim a week. And I'm not kidding. Anytime we see any competition on any of these guys, we have to just get rid of them because we don't stand a chance at competing with any of these schools. The same thing goes for the 2-stars that were interested in us as well. If there's another school that's offered a scholarship, we're just not going to be willing to put hours in to win that battle. That gives us some more spaces to get other prospects though, and Connor Booth is the only running back that is willing to transfer here as a 3-star. I'll tell you this right now, he is awful. He is 83 speed. He is not worth getting, but he's all we can do. I also imagine that there'd be more offensive linemen that we could target, but there is literally 0 between the centers, the guards, and the tackles. So we're still going to try and complete this attempt, but we have put so many quarterbacks at the bottom of our board because there just weren't other options for us to target. I don't know if Akron is the school for us. Maybe conference prestige could be really useful for getting more transfers. I just think when you have a school with this bad of grades, when you can drop down to a 0-star school, it makes it almost impossible. I mean, each week we keep on checking our board back, and if there is any other scholarship offers on some of these players, you know that we're going to pull out of them. That's what we have to do on Keeney Parks unless we put 50. And as I sit here having to click through this screen 35 times in a row, all I can do is hope that we were able to get that full class. Now, if you're a veteran at this game, all you're going to do is close app and load back into your dynasty. It is faster than just spamming any button. So we don't get our true reveal on all the players that we got until we load into National Signing Day, and that is the logo that we want to see here. I'm not seeing any team taking any of these prospects besides Nate Johnson. That hurts because he is fast. There was actually a reason I was trying to get some of those quicker quarterbacks as well, and it's not to play QB for us. We can only start one. It is because I feel like you could move them around to other positions like corner, which we might need, or tight end, or halfback. I'm really just doing it based off a need, and I think this guy is going to be our starting strong safety this year. He must have been an athlete in high school. And I just have to sit here and take a mental note of some of the best players that we got. Like, I never knew Earl Little Jr. was a star dev safety, but now I'll know for a future rebuild that we could potentially get him. I told you, Chris Jones, Kendall Jackson, apparently Christopher Burgess Jr. is this good too. I got like a full database in my mind of some of the best transfers you can find, and there's another one. I love seeing this. So ultimately, our class ended up being ranked 52nd in the country. I'm hoping that is enough to have the best class in our conference. It was. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to go 13-0 before the playoff. But again, even if we do, I'm not sure this team will be capable of winning it all. Now, the last thing I have in my control before we try and go 17-0 with Akron is the player upgrades. So we're going to take some of these transfers and make them really good players. I'm only going to upgrade stuff that has to do with their overall so we can get it as high as possible. I will say by far the most electrifying player that's going to be on our offense next season is Tank Hawkins. He has 97 speed, and I just know we're going to enjoy having him as a receiver. But Ivan Carrion, the guy with Star Dev, is 6'6", and his skill caps look incredible. This might be the best receiver with a high ceiling we have. There were definitely some interesting finds in the transfer portal this year. I can't believe that we got Jujon Johnson up to a 78 overall for someone that used to be a QB. But I think he's going to make for a great safety next to Earl Little Jr., and our highest overall player is Raylan Wilson in 88. I will say this though, no matter how many low overall players we cut, which does help your roster overall, this just isn't looking like a championship team. But after getting us down to just 59 players, we are an 81 overall, we have an 84 overall defense, and I can customize our non-conference schedule to make things a little bit easier on us. But again, here's the big problem. We lose one of these games, the whole 17-0 challenge is over, and we have to restart again. I can sit here and try and make you fall in love with this team because we have a good quarterback, because our receiving core turned out better than I was expecting. But it's just not national championship quality, and our media poll rank is at least 120, so it's not 136. For every game that I don't hop into, I will be stressing, but let's just open up the season against Air Force. We built this team, we might as well get to use it. And this is where the 17-0 dream is going to start for the Zips. Getting Grunkmeyer to transfer in from Penn State was really good for the QB position. So I have confidence in him to help us perform pretty well throughout this year, and we're going to score the first points in this game. I also have to give credit to our defense. I know that it's Air Force, but we've been able to hold them to just 7 points. And this is exactly how we were hoping to open up the season. There's still 11 other games, though, where we drop any of them, and you know what happens. I'm also aware of what happens on college campuses when students want to exchange their student ticket in Snapchat groups, GroupMe's. It's not very secure, which is why I became an owner of Student Seats. We're a protected platform for student-to-student ticket transactions if your school allows it, so you know that you'll actually get paid or you'll get your ticket. We've been effective at places like Alabama, Wisconsin, Purdue, Michigan, Penn State, but I want to protect more students at Ohio State, Indiana, Illinois, and Michigan State, so for the next 10 sellers at those schools, you'll get an additional $10 cash alongside the fact that we have no seller fees. Our biggest challenge is making more students aware that there's a safer alternative for them to get their student ticket to or from another student on their campus. So if we don't serve your school right now, my goal is that we can do that in the future, but that's really all about Student Seats. Enjoy the rest of this crazy challenge. I really feel like the MAC is our best chance at getting into the playoff. It's the easiest one for us if we're going to go from being awful to being really good. But after taking down an FCS program, we are going to sim against Charlotte, who is typically pretty bad at football. I decided to add them to our schedule because I thought we could beat them, so it'd be pretty embarrassing if we lost this game. Their overall this season is going to be a 59. But we know that overall means absolutely nothing on this game sometimes, and we lost that one in overtime. 33-27, that is it. We have to restart. I mean, I'd understand it a little bit more if Grunkmeyer was just turning over the ball or something, but he threw for 371 yards. It was our rushing game that was non-existent. So I guess that's something that we need to address with this next attempt, but I'm trying to figure out where is the best place for us to start this next attempt. When we were using Akron, I just didn't feel like we had enough hours to spend to get some of the transfers I would have liked. So maybe we need to find like a mid-tier Power 4 program that's going to allow us to get more talent in. And what I've decided to settle on is actually Northwestern. I know I said I wanted to avoid the Big Ten, which I still don't feel great about, but they have a head coach that's a master motivator. It's very good for talent development. And I think having A+ conference prestige is going to make a major difference for us. Our team prestige shouldn't drop too low if we don't have a good season, which we're not going to. The goal is to go 0-12 first. Academic prestige, also an A+. So even though they have a 91 overall on this roster, I think this is going to be a team that we can get to winless, and then we have to turn them around and go 17-0. If you just look at their past history, this is a team that's capable of having a really bad season and then a good one right after. They've done it multiple times in like the last 5 to 6 years. And we're about to find out whether or not we're able to go winless with this current schedule. I have a couple ideas of other things we could do to potentially make that possible if we aren't able to go 0-12 our first couple attempts. And just considering the fact that this team somehow beat Alabama and Clemson in sim, I just don't know what to say. One adjustment I've thought about making, though, is using the triple option as our offense. And my theory is that could keep us winless so we can start trying to go 17-0 immediately. Of course, though, there's always somebody that has to spoil what we want to do. Nebraska let us beat them 25-23. And I think you can start to see why we won't be touching any bigger programs in this challenge, because it doesn't matter if we have the fourth stringers out there. It doesn't matter if we're running the triple option. They always find a way to win at least one game if the team is decent. But we just adjusted a couple things, and we'll see what happens this time when we get to week 10. You can't even make this stuff up, though. You see the defensive player of the week against the Cornhuskers. And it looks like we didn't get our win against them, but because we have Purdue on our schedule and they are absolutely horrendous at football, we picked up a win there. There is only one other thing I could even think of that could potentially help us go winless during this season, and that is putting Luke Akers, a punter, in at quarterback with his 61 speed and a triple option offense. Now, if we're being honest, I shouldn't even have to play a game this season. We should just go ahead and lose every single one, so that's my hope. But as I was just sitting here in silence, waiting for us to get to that point, something came up on my mind. It is impossible for us to go 17-0 as a Big Ten team, and I don't know why I didn't think about it sooner, because even if we beat everyone on our schedule, if we are undefeated, then the playoff picture is going to have us with a first round bye. We could only go 16-0 anyway, and as we get to week 14, we won 2 games with our punter at quarterback. I think we're just going to have to scrap using any type of Power 4 team, especially the fact that we won 2 games. This just doesn't even make sense to me. And I've really got to think, where is somewhere where we could go 13-0 after going 0-12 and not get a first round bye, so it's still possible for us to go 17-0 that second season. For recruiting purposes, I really wanted to get into the Big 12, but I just know that we would most likely be a top 4 team if we're undefeated. And honestly, depending on what team we use in the American, it's the same type of thing. I do believe, though, that the Mountain West could be a good balance for us. San Jose State is a 2.5-star team prestige, so they're the team we want to take over. All these overalls besides Boise State are very similar, and it looks like they also have a master motivator as a head coach. Now, they consistently seem to make it to a bowl game every season, but they've also had some bad years in the last decade. And I am immediately making that change over to Army's playbook since we are going to have a much easier schedule. Going winless with San Jose State could be a really big challenge for us. It looks like there's not anyone lower than a 69 to play at running back. And just checking out some of these school grades, I was hoping that they'd have some higher ones than what we're looking at, but we're stuck with the Spartans now. It might take a lot of simulation attempts, but if we can just get them to 0-12 once, then the next season we'll have our chance at going 17-0, running the table. Let's check in where they're at week 10. You know what? Outside of all these players that want to transfer away, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. We are 0-7. So even though we only lost to Texas by 2, it is clear that the triple option offense is working out pretty well for us, though those are some close games against Utah State and Wyoming, and we can only hop into 3 of these 5. I feel like if we sim against Colorado State, we might beat them, so I'm going into this. And I really wasn't expecting it to be such a challenge for us to get to 0-12 in this video. I thought we'd be able to easily do it with teams. We'd just be attempting multiple times to go 17-0 in different conferences, at different programs. But you have to find a team that is capable of being really bad, and look at the situation I hopped into with 3 minutes left. It's just so wild to me that San Jose State is still putting up fights, which makes me very worried to sim some of these games. And can we juke around in the end zone? No, we fumble. This is even better. At the end of the day, we go to 0-8. And I swear, the following week, we better not be able to beat Air Force. Just take a wild guess about what happened, though. You already know. We beat them by a point somehow. It doesn't matter that we're throwing for less than 100 yards. It doesn't matter that our leading carrier only had 41. We have won a game once again when we shouldn't have, so we're going to try it again. We're going to put a punter there at quarterback. We're also going to put a kicker just in case the starter goes down. And you just cannot tell me that we're still going to find a way to get a win. I've already seen our record before I even go into the team schedule. At some point, it's just a joke. It's got to be a joke. We beat Utah State 15-10 with a punter and the triple option. San Jose State is just legitimately that good inside the Mountain West. This is why we need to find a team that is awful. With this next attempt, I'm just at a loss of words at this point. There's no way that we won 2 games and we scored 34. I feel like I've seen it all. We are literally going to go through this glitchy menu at every position and put in the worst player everywhere that we can. If we still find a way to win a game after I spent all of my time doing that, I'm just going to be speechless. Well, Wyoming gave us a scare because we only lost to them by 2 points, but we have a chance to finish out this season winless, which I can hop into these games, make sure that we lose. And finally, we have set ourselves up to get another attempt at going 17-0. I really thought it was going to be easier to get to this point than this, especially knowing that we just do stuff like this to get a few losses a year. But the more that I've sat here and thought about it, it's a good thing that San Jose State has struggled to go 0-12. Although not winning a single game this season is definitely going to set us back a little bit as a program. As long as our team prestige doesn't drop too drastically, we're going to have a lot more hours to spend in the transfer portal. We also know with teams like UNLV and Boise State, it'll be easy for us to beat the 5th highest rated conference champion. Both of our coordinators are currently tacticians, and that means I'm not going to fire them even though they're low levels. I don't know if we could find anybody better that would replace them, and that's going to boost our overall since they're tacticians. So we are ready for that second real attempt of going 17-0. It's definitely unfortunate to see some of our higher overall players players want to transfer out that could have developed into 75, 80 overall starters for us the next season, plus some really good graduates. But fortunately for us, we are a 1-star team prestige that is much higher than being a 0-star team prestige. Look at all of these seniors though. Our highest overall that's going to be returning next year is going to be Lamar Radcliffe. What we basically need to do in the transfer portal period is build an entire starting lineup out of our 525 hours. That is still a lot better than the 375 again. And Raylan Wilson's there. That's somebody I'd like to get. It is really nice to have 3 stars that are interested, because last time we did this, there were no 3 stars interested off the rip. And as I grind out the players I want to put on our board, I have to look at these school grades. Conference prestige is a C+, so that opens the door for us to get more 3 stars than the last time, but everything else is still really low. Since there turned out to be 25 players on our board that we just offered a scholarship, they were already interested, that leaves us with hours that we can pour into players like Whit Weeks, that we can pour into Kanye Udo. I don't think we're going to be able to get either of those 4 stars, but it's worth a shot. And truly, the transfer portal is just all about taking guys off your board when you know you're not going to get them. Raylan Wilson would have been nice, knowing that he's like an 88 overall, so maybe we should have gone more aggressive after him. But it just didn't work out that way, and we're not going to get the 4 stars, which I think was expected. Of the original 35 players we had on our board, we only had 14 that actually stuck around, but we were able to find another 21 that aren't being recruited, so we got a full board of 35 again. We're going to advance a couple weeks, see how many of them we can get. And I'm pretty confident to say that we got at least 30 transfers, but there were some of them that were just toss-ups in the air as other schools came into the picture. One of the more painful losses, though, is going to be Jurian Dickey. He chose Stanford at the last second. That is an in-city opponent. And we got Lincoln Kienholz from Ohio State, but we're going to lose DJ Herman, a linebacker, to North Texas. We also let Bowling Green take away a right tackle. We let Texas A&M take away Marcus Steele, who's typically pretty solid. And I know that our class isn't going to be ranked the top in the conference just because Boise State exists. They're almost inside the top 25, but we're number 2. Now, I've been able to get Jujon Johnson again. I think this time he's going to play running back for us just because we have a need at that position. And Cameron Dyer is a quarterback that we've used at running back in the past for a rebuild, so we could also put him there, or we could make him a wide receiver and see how he progresses. As we get into training results, I'm not sure this roster is even going to be better than the one that we just built at Akron, which is a little concerning. But look at what we are doing with Juju Johnson. He's going to be an 81 overall running back. Not even sure if he's starting. It's just the fact that we can move him around to all these positions and still make him really good. The 45 skill points that Cameron Dyer got have made a massive difference as well. It's a good thing he has star development. His route running, incredible. Speed, only 87, but we're going to be able to get him a silver cutter, which should help him get open even more. And I'm just going to go through the rest of this roster, seeing how high of an overall I can take some of these players. We've been able to get San Jose State up to the point where I think every starter that will be out there on the field is about an 80. But if you look anywhere besides our defensive back room, it's not great. Like, our offensive line isn't looking very good. Our receiving core isn't where I want it to be. Our tight ends are actually one of the other good groups. But I feel like we're going to run into the same issue that we could have run into at Akron if we stayed undefeated, and that's the fact that once we get to the playoffs, assuming we can even go 13-0, we can't be any good team. After cutting a lot of our worst players, though, we get to come into this season as an 86 overall. It's a very fraudulent 86 overall. But I think when you combine the fact that we have multiple tacticians on this team, that really helps too. When it comes to the 3 games that I'm going to hop into outside of Simmon, we know that Boise State's going to be one of them. I also put Stanford on the schedule, even though we could have gone with an easier school. And my thought process behind that was I want to get our revenge since they stole away Jurian Dickey from us. I know for a fact that our receiving core could have been so much better if we just landed him. And playing these games is actually so stressful. Though look at the release that we just got with Coleman. He's in the end zone to put us up by 3 points against Stanford. But just knowing one loss ruins all that we just spent our time doing with recruiting is a hard reality. Now, I buffed up our defensive line so we could get in pressure, but it's just not working. And I definitely think that we recruited a better one whenever we were at Akron, but the ball's out. They're scooping it up. They better not get a first down out of this. They didn't, and they might even miss this kick since it's from a hash mark. That's what happens. If you're remembering right as well, we got a quarterback at running back for us. And I just gave him 2 carries where he picked up absolutely nothing. Maybe he can make the catch. Well, we had to punt it back to Stanford, but you see what we've gotten them to, a 4th and 1. And just based off of how this game is going, I really don't feel confident against any team we could face in the playoff. I needed to do a better job, especially building the offense. And eventually, after a lot of work, we were able to just run out the rest of the clock, so we are going to take down Stanford. But again, I have a feeling that it could be a long season for us. I never expect us to go out and lose a game to an FCS school. I actually think the EA has made them way worse than some of them actually are on this game. But Akron could be a whole other story. It was our former stomping grounds. I thought we might as well just throw them on there since we know that they're not good. And with a 52-7 win, you have to start to wonder, are we going to be able to run the Mountain West table? It all starts with how we do when we host number 22 3-0 Boise State, but I'm starting to get a little bit of confidence. And I think if we just signed a better class, San Jose State could be a place where you can do this challenge. I mean, if we didn't hold Boise State to a field goal on the goal line, we wouldn't even be in it. We'd be down 2 possessions with less than 6 minutes left, just chasing points. But now a touchdown puts us in front. I'm actually kind of curious to see the release that Cameron Dyer gets here as well. He doesn't have that much speed, so the quarterback wasn't open on the outside. But he is still one of our #1 receivers, so we're going to let him catch this ball and bring it in. Clock has definitely been running down a little bit as well. We got our running back in the flat. It's going to be CJ Hester, the Michigan transfer. Since Jujon Johnson got injured, he's been our starting running back today as he cuts it up to the 3. And I've been really trying to make sure this is the final drive of the game, but I don't think it's going to be possible. There's a flag, looks like a free play. We'll throw it up. It's dropped, but it was against Boise State, and maybe we should have made a better read. Probably smartest to just keep this one on the ground here. We get the pitch out. It's on the ground. Scoop it up, CJ Hester. You know, that's not how it was supposed to work out, but effectively, the speed option still went the way that it should have. We were able to beat the defense to the outside, and it's time for ours to lock down. Remember, if there's any position on this team I'm confident in, it's our defensive backs. So I'm actually not opposed to going with cover 1. They still get the first. I think what we should do is try and get some pressure in. We sent a blitz on the right side, and just like that, the Broncos have used their final timeout. Here on 3rd and 5, we're looking for the cut over the middle. We were going to the outside. I shaded to the outside. Why did he burn him? We didn't even press. This is so dumb. We just wait for them to run straight by, and then we start chasing. I mean, we should have never given up that touchdown or this 2-point conversion. But if we can't beat a team like Boise State, then we're not going to be able to beat teams in the playoff anyway. Let's see. Are we going to have enough time to hit our tight end? We do. Cooper Flanagan was a really good pickup in the portal. We'll look for him in the future if we don't end up having that much success with San Jose State. No way we just delivered this dot. What a throw. We kind of just sent it up and prayed, and it worked out. It was answered. Are we going to have him? We do, but he's not in the end zone. Okay, we have 2 plays to score, and it actually looks like the middle is kind of open. We were going to go with the speed option. Snap this ball. I know our offensive line's not great. Can we just get the touchdown here? He is short. This is it. We go with the quarterback sneak. We either get in or we don't. Let's get this thing tied up. I think I just want to take things to overtime. Normally, I'd go for 2. I'd be aggressive. But we're not going to be aggressive here because I feel like we shouldn't have given up a touchdown in the first place. That's what our man coverage is doing, locking up. Here on 2nd and 10, we know a run is coming. Never mind. It was play action, but they tried to run out of it. I mean, we have 5 sacks to their 0. We should probably be watching this side over where the bunch is. There's a corner route, and we're not going to get back to it. Can we knock it loose? They definitely adjusted to us running man coverage 3 times in a row. We should have just switched things up, but we were able to drive down the entire field in 25 seconds. So scoring from 25 yards out shouldn't be a problem. This is where CJ Hester has the outside. We just got to make sure that the pitch is good. There's an offside call anyway. And I'm not sure why Boise State just can't line up properly before the play. That speed option call has not been one of my favorite. We went with the RPO, but we're not in. Though we trusted Keenholz with the quarterback sneak the last time, and he doesn't have it. I mean, I don't know how he didn't score a touchdown there, but we'll get it on the next play. And once again, this is very hard for me, but we're not going to be aggressive. When there is this much on the line, when we've already built the team that we want to go 17-0 with, I don't want one bad 2-point conversion play call to potentially ruin that. Oh, we just toasted him. Cooper Flanagan is him, and he makes the catch. I did notice, though, Boise State has Isaac Smith on their defense. That's another guy in the transfer portal that's an absolute monster you can get. He's a 4-star. He comes in as like a 90 overall, so we're not going to ever be able to get him in this video, but the Broncos have him. And even with that star power, it's 3rd and goal. I guess we know how we like to finish off our drives. We do need a 2-point conversion after this. And my idea is we hit Hank Thomas off of that route right there. It's an angle. It's open. Can he catch it? Okay, just like that. For a little bit longer, we're right in front, but they don't play coverage. He was manned up to him, and he just watched him run by once again for a free touchdown. There's just so many things about this game that really make me wonder, how does that even fly? Don't let him get in on this. Are you kidding? They made that same read and throw for a 2-point conversion already. Or maybe it was for a touchdown a little bit ago. Either way, we had the hard flat, and it does well against the run. We are going to have a good 2-point conversion play call ourselves, though, to win. And here, in triple overtime, the hardest game on our schedule. Is it Cameron Dyer that's going to be getting open? No, it's the slant. No one near him. It's a tough route to guard in that situation. we are able to take down Boise State, I don't think we'll be ranked for a while. Because you have to think, we were 0-12 last year. We have to climb from the bottom of the college football world. We have a 0% Bud Elliott blue chip ratio, so we have no 4 or 5 stars on this roster. But we have national championship dreams, and we're going to have to sim a rivalry against Fresno State. If Matthew Coleman's going off like this, though, he's already done it multiple times this season, we're probably getting the win. But it was just by 7 points, and I can only play one more game on this schedule, so we're going to have to use that wisely. It is really unfortunate that there are so many teams that could just spoil our year. And against the Lobos, we got a much more comfortable win. I mean, we know we're going to be the higher overall team than any other team that we're facing on our schedule. But are we good enough to where we are going to win those matchups no matter what? That's what we continue to do as we're sitting on top of our conference, about to play San Diego State on the road. I think this is the last game that we should hop into. It's an in-state matchup. We've got to stay perfect, and I don't care that they're just a 64. If it ends up going anything like our matchups against Stanford and Boise State, it's going to come down to the wire. And you see the spot that we're in with 4 minutes left. What we're trying to do is just run out the rest of this clock. Injury timeouts are not making that easy, though. We also got Johnson back for this game. He has 20 rushes for 62 yards. I mean, it's not like he's playing well, but we can find him in the flat, making it 3rd and 5. I really don't want this drive to just end with a field goal, so I love that we're picking up their blitz and we can find Houston Thomas. But this game's not over. They drove down the field. They're going to kick a field goal and keep it within a possession. I feel like that's a little bit of a questionable decision just because they only have 1 timeout left. We scoop up the onside kick. And we can't run out the entire clock, but we can get this down to about 5 to 10 seconds remaining. If we get a first, though, that would end it. The speed boost that you can get out of the shifty ability is just remarkable, so we're going to quickly get it out, and there's no way we don't have it. Came down a little bit closer than I thought, but we'll take our knee. And this means there are still 4 games left that we have to sim every single one of, but we are on pace to make it to 17-0. I guess something I didn't consider, though, was we still need to be a top 5 ranked conference champion to guarantee our spot in the playoff. Tulane at 6-2 is ranked ahead of us at the moment, even though we just cracked the polls. And that's some extremely scary news for us to see. At this point in the year now, it matters how badly we beat opponents so we can try and prove that we're a top 12 program. I mean, you all saw how bad we just took down Utah State, and we can only sim through these final few matchups. There's not really a reason to take it slow. After fully sending it, we had a very close call against Louisiana Monroe, who I decided we wanted to have on our schedule. That was a bad decision. We got Boise State that we have to play again. And I don't see Tulane ahead of us in the polls, which is some incredible news. At 10-2, they won out, but they are not going to be ranked ahead of a 12-0 team. We actually control our destiny right now. If we win 5 straight games, it will be possible to go 0-12, then 17-0 the next season. But in order to pull off 5 straight, we got to play almost perfectly, and it's only going to get harder from this moment. For just our second real attempt at this challenge after we made it on the other side of 0-12, I'm feeling really good. But if this doesn't end up working out, I think what we need to do is take over a team from a conference like the American. I have a feeling we'll get all the benefits that we've had at San Jose State, but a little bit more. And there are other good teams that we'd have to deal with there, but it wouldn't be Boise State. Right now, the Broncos have a 7-point lead, and there is only 4 minutes left in this game. Now, we're going to continue to hit the check down until they decide to guard it, but just the fact that this one is close shows that we're not winning a national championship. If we're not beating Boise State, what do you think is going to happen whenever we run into a team like Ohio State or Georgia? It just won't go well. The worst part about all of this is it is setting up to where we're going to have another overtime game versus the Broncos. We're going to throw this one up to Cameron Dyer. He is 6'4". I thought he was going to put a hand on that ball, but he didn't. He didn't even come close to making a play, and they have a zone right there to guard the exact route that we wanted to throw. Now, we didn't need to force it. We could have thrown it away. But panic set in for us, and they're just getting a huge lane to run through. Boise State's going to ruin the season. I thought using Duke's playbook offensively was a good decision, just so we do well in sim. They typically tend to do pretty well in sim. But when it comes to actually playing with it, we have not had as much success. And it's because everything is so spread out. Like, we don't know if Coleman's beating the press over on that side. I can't see, but we might have had a touchdown there. At least we find KD Hutchinson from Western Kentucky. And I'm going to go for the 2-point conversion right now. I don't want to deal with another overtime matchup. It's there. We just got to make the catch. Now, our last attempt at run defense was pitiful. They got me biting down on this play. And I think we just got to bring everyone down to the box. Go ahead, hand this football off. We'll be prepared for it and making the tackle or not. I absolutely despise coming out and double mug in these situations, but the hope is we get someone free, and we have to use one of our final timeouts. Either we get the stop on this play or the game is over. There's no in between. It's a run, and they're going to get it. They're going to get it. The one-on-one user play was just too stressful to make. I was hoping they'd find a way to mess this up, but the computer's actually being pretty smart. And so with our final timeout gone, they have come out in a QB kneel, and that is going to end our run. I really thought we were about to get a playoff berth and have our chance at winning a title, but this is just going to give us another chance to reevaluate our entire plan. So I was doing some hard thinking, and I don't believe that if we took over a program like Tulane or Memphis, who's 2.5 stars inside the American, that we'd be able to go 0-12, then 17-0. We could use Army, who has that same type of prestige, but I want to use Army for a future video. And what that leads me to is the Pac-12 with Oregon State. We've already used Washington State, who would actually be the better option here. But you all are just going to have to trust me on this, because next season, they expand to an actual conference that'll have a conference championship and allow us to potentially go 17-0. For the first season, though, when we need to go 0-12, before all of that realignment would actually happen in real life, they're basically treated as an independent besides being locked into a rivalry against in-state rivals Oregon. Going to be a hard game to win next year, but it's easy for us to lose this year. And then they play Washington State not once, but twice. All of these other games, we get to edit. That is the best part about using Oregon State, and they have a pretty good team prestige. They're going to belong in a conference. I don't think if we went undefeated, they'd be a top 4 team. And the idea behind this schedule is just make it as miserable as we possibly can. I don't even know if our team prestige is going to drop that much, because it seems like a lot of these would just be quality losses for us. If I'm just being transparent, my original plan for this video was eventually to use UConn for it because of all the flexibility we have on the schedule, but I realized we won't have a conference championship, so it wouldn't be possible to go 17-0. And quite frankly, 16-0 just would not be good enough for us. Malik Murphy is a star dev quarterback. He cares about championship contender, which is unfortunate because we could have kept him around, but he is going to want to transfer. And outside of him, I've been looking through this entire roster. There's maybe one player I'm excited for that we aren't going to have to get through the transfer portal. It is this star dev edge because he cares about conference prestige, so he won't transfer no matter how bad this year goes. And I could be wrong, but I feel like we have found our answer with the Beavers for a team that could go 0-12 to 17-0 just because of that new alignment with the Pac-12. We're very lucky that it works out that way. These are what the school grades seem to be. But as we advance through this season, most of that is probably going to change. Well, I never expected that using Oregon State with the schedule that we had, that we would need to still adjust stuff like maybe our starting quarterback, maybe the playbook, but we clearly need to because in our first attempt with the Beavers, we've beat Illinois, so we can't go 0-12. But we've been through this process a few times now. We'll just put some kickers at quarterback, and we'll make their lives absolutely miserable by forcing them to run the triple option. If this isn't the answer for us to go winless with Oregon State, I don't know what's going to be. And these type of results are looking a lot better to me. What a brutal road game schedule that we got going on here. We're about to play our first home game and the only home game on the schedule against Washington State. This is the one team that I'm just a little bit worried about that somehow we could find a way to beat them. And it's starting to set in that I think I've made a very good decision using the Beavers for this challenge because their base roster is better than any of the other teams we've started with so far. I've left the transfer settings to default, so we're going to only be able to lose 20 players. The rest of them, they're still going to be around on the team. Not sure what their overalls are going to look like, but we're just making sure this ends. I mean, just the fact that Washington State only scored 14 points on us, that's got to be a really embarrassing thing for them. We are actively trying to lose, and up until the fourth quarter, it was literally 3-0. There's a lot of names there that want to leave Oregon State. I think we're safe to get to the end of the season, but I'm still worried about the other game against the Cougars. So I just hopped in to make sure that we didn't lose that one as well, and we have gotten to 0-12. This is perfect, and the conference is going to look a lot different very soon, but it's not there yet. Now, looking at our head coach, I can't do anything about what his build is, but we can see our coordinators, and I saw we had a talent developer. He's only level 18 and he's not going to give us any bonuses. I'm actually going to fire both of these guys. I mean, they'd be useful if they were about 10 levels higher, but since they're not, we're going to see if we can get lucky with some coordinator hires. I mean, we have 4 names to choose from that aren't too bad at all, but the best one is Steege Wheeler because he is the exact thing I was hoping for, a talent developer that's about 10 levels higher. And then over on the defensive side of things, we haven't gotten as lucky, but we're going to wait another week to see if any of these options get any better. I would say that so far, this is the best setup that we've ever had for one of these runs, but it's becoming more and more clear that our defensive coordinator isn't going to be as fun. I'm surprised that Aaron Watson actually chose us over the other schools that were interested, but we'll take it. And I knew I saw Boise State put up a huge game against Texas. They might not have won, but they scored 45 on them in the first round, and they're about to become a part of our conference. I'm really hoping Malik Murphy isn't one of the players transferring away from the Beavers, but he is, and we have no chance at convincing him to come back. If we just look at some of these names, they're going to hurt to see departing, but there's not much we can do about it. I mean, he cared about championship contender. We have to go 0-12. Lots of graduates as well. And we'd even see running back Anthony Hankerson get drafted in the 3rd round, which is going to bump up Oregon State's pro potential at that position. As we are about to start putting together this transfer portal class, I just want to say I have a lot of faith in the Beavers that we could achieve good things with them here, that this is where we could go from 0-12 to 17-0, because we are still a 2-star team prestige. We have the B conference prestige rating, and we have 675 hours to spend during this transfer portal period. We have a 4-star that's interested. I think this is going to be a trial run, and then we're going to go even harder afterwards once we get some experience using them. If I'm going to be able to make this roster as good as possible, I need to figure out where our needs are going to be. It looks like our 80 overall running back actually stuck around. And one thing that I'm picking up on with Oregon State is there's a lot of players in the transfer portal that are interested off rip because of our pro potential grades at lots of positions. I didn't realize it when I chose them, but if you have at least like a C plus at a lot of these, you're going to have plenty of options. We have an A- on our tight end, which is amazing. And most of our board is just going to be comprised of players at first that have interest in our team. We're going to leave on the guys that aren't being recruited by other schools. It's the same strategy we've been using everywhere else, but I think Oregon State gives us our best chance to get a good class. I will say, after 1 week, I think things are shaping up pretty nice. A lot of the players I thought we might have to pour more hours into, we're not going to have to. And even on Austin Mack, it's either us or Cal that's going to win the battle for the 4-star quarterback. Nitro Tuggle, I think he's a good receiver we could get. We just have points to spread around this time that we can actually put in to trying and winning battles for guys that we want. And there are guys as well that are 4-stars not being recruited. I kind of figure that that's not going to last, but we're about to be able to check that in the first place. Still removing those guys where there's any bit of competition. And it looks like Braylon Russell and Mark Fletcher Jr., we are the only school that's going after him. As for 4-star quarterback Austin Mack, we are so close with Cal. It is neck and neck, but they have the better pipeline, so we had to figure out his hard sell. We'll also get him on a visit. And if we stack that visit with receivers like Nitro Tuggle, that'll have a bigger impact. I guess that was enough to convince Austin Mack that he wanted to become a Beaver. I don't know what his overall is going to be, but I mean, this is easily about to be the best transfer portal class that we have ever been able to land, and Cincinnati pulled out a Nitro Tuggle. It never seems to go this way, but it does feel like it could be the first time where we sign a full class of 35 players. I just have to expect that the computer snuck up on us on at least one of them. And here we go. Things are looking solid so far. Stanford got this tight end. See, that's what I'm saying. They always end up stealing away someone at the last second. I put 50 hours into him as well, but they must have had a good pull. Chris Bracey chose Auburn, and he was a high-rated safety. But every time that we attempt this challenge, trying to build a very good team through just the portal, we can find more players with Star Dev that we can go after in the future. And if we just signed a full class of players with Star Dev, they would develop very nicely. I'm really hoping with the new look Pac-12, we can go undefeated in that. We're going to have the 39th best class, which is solid. It's much better than what Washington State did, and most of the teams coming over to the Pac-12 are in the Mountain West Conference, so we did better than Boise State. I mean, pre-training results, we have an 88 overall. We have Arian Carter, who's an 84. Cam Cook is another good running back for us. And I can't believe how good things could potentially be on the other side of these training results, where I'm going to do a deeper dive than I typically would. I feel like it's pretty obvious for positions like quarterback what I do. I just go in there, I max out their accuracy because that's what gets their overall up the most. And I'll tell you what, Austin Mack is going to be an 89 overall for us. But what about something like wide receiver? Noah Rogers, big signing, star development. We could increase his quickness, but what I'd actually focus on first is getting route running as high as possible and then hands. It'd be nice if he was faster, but this will help us perform better in sim. He's going to be an 88 overall. IQ doesn't get him a little bump. And I'd never actually been able to land Nitro Tuggle before, but he isn't as great as I was thinking. With a little speed boost, he's going to get up to 93 as an 83 overall receiver. But he's just not going to be as electrifying as someone like Mark Fletcher Jr. on our offense is going to be. We can actually max out his elusiveness. That was the final skill points that he had. He's a 94 overall. I mean, as I'm going through progression with this team, especially in the running back room, I'm feeling like we're actually at that playoff level where we would have a chance at winning a championship. And that just gets me extremely excited. Now, for someone like an offensive lineman, you're going to see I upgrade awareness. I'm upgrading pass blocking specifically. That's because he is a pass protector archetype, so the only thing that impacts his overall are those ratings. And it really is crucial to just pay attention to that archetype, knowing what boosts that overall. Bump and run corners are man corners. So what we're going to do do is boost their man coverage. And if I don't even touch zone, we just went straight man, you're going to see that Welch gets up to an 87 overall. Now, we had a little extra skill points that we also put into zone, but it wasn't really necessary. Then for Evan Johnson, he is a zone corner, so we're just going to go straight zone coverage. I am not trying to build a team that's going to perform the best on the field, though we still need them to. I just need a team that can win a lot of games in sim. And as we get one step closer to next season, the next thing we really need to do is just encourage those lower overall players to transfer. We want our roster overall to be super high. Then it was time to realign the Pac-12 to what it's going to be in the future. It's just these 8 teams at the moment, which is actually really good news for us because that'll still leave 4 slots for games that we can make our opponent anyone we want. I don't like that we're locked into a matchup against Oregon. That's the only downside of using the Beavers. But I mean, if you just take a glance to right above the schedule, you're going to see that we are a 91 overall team. These are the other programs I threw on here. And after readjusting the depth chart, we actually went up to a 92 overall. Overall is very misleading in this game though. I mean, our roster is solid. I was able to get a lot of good players on here and upgrade them well. But there are certain positions like quarterback, like halfback that are extremely stacked. And then if we look at wide receiver, we have a couple good players, but we don't have enough to really fill out a whole room. I'll also say that our defensive line is better than anything that we've been able to build in a season before, but it isn't as good as I want it to be. And this might sound a little nitpicky, but our kicker isn't good enough either. Outside of Oregon though, we should still be the best team compared to all the other programs on our schedule. We can sim these first couple games and see how they go. And that actually got me really nervous because one loss in sim, the whole challenge we have to restart. It looks like against Akron though, we won 73-0, against Air Force 37-0. We haven't given up a single point. So I was considering potentially playing against San Diego State, but I'm just going to let this team roll. We got Mark Fletcher Jr. winning Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week. He had 122 yards, probably like 4 touchdowns. And it was in a game where we put up 56 points, but our defense gave up 28. I also believe that every stat matters as we're trying to go 17-0. So what we're going to do is spend some of our tactician points on making our defensive line better, since that was something I was concerned about. We're about to have 2 more easy matchups before things just get really, really tough. We have FCS Northwest, after that Arkansas State, but then we have to play the Oregon Ducks. And it's not even going to matter because look at our record. I genuinely cannot believe it. Arkansas State beat us 21-20. They're 4-1. We should have never thrown them on the schedule as our non-conference opponent, I guess. That's a lesson we have to learn from this. And I really just don't want to talk about it. I'm curious what happened whenever we took on the Ducks. It doesn't really matter since this entire team and effort's just gone out the window. We can't go 17-0. We can't complete the challenge. But I still decided to simulate it anyway, and they beat us by 14. If I was able to hop in and play that game, I think we could have beat Oregon. You know what? We'll just get on to another attempt, and we have found our lane with Oregon State. We're going to have to put together a better roster, though, and hopefully not waste 30 minutes progressing all of our players for it to just go out the window before I can even use them. At least I didn't even have to hop into a game during the first season with Oregon State. We can immediately go 0-12 again because we have found a formula that's pretty successful for that. But since this is a new run at the challenge, we can fire our coordinators again, see if we can hire the same staff, but I don't think we will. I was going to be shocked if we had the same options that we did the last time, and it's clear that we're not going to get a talent developer. It stinks. But hang on, you know what? We have a level 40 that could potentially be our defensive coordinator. Mick Cloud has Program Builder unlocked, and we were actually able to sign him, but I've gotten so excited for something that's not going to be there since he's a coordinator. I play this game enough, I probably should have known better. It just disappears. There's no Program Builder archetype for a coordinator. It is what it is. Malik Murphy wants to transfer again. He is still putting his name into the portal, so he will be gone. And this time around, everything played out extremely similar to what happened last season. We're still a 2-star team prestige, so we have 675 hours to spend. And Austin Mack is interested in our program just like the last time. We know Cam Cook's good, but Whit Weeks also would be willing to give Oregon State a chance. Now, one thing I've learned from the last time is we need to make sure that we're getting some more receivers. I love that Malachi Coleman is here, that Noah Rogers is here, but the difference between last time and this time is Austin Mack has 5 other schools that are going after him at the same time. It looks like Whit Weeks' our only competition is Ole Miss and Virginia. We got Noah Rogers, though. No one else seems to want him besides Temple, and that's a big signing. Ahmad Hardy. This is the name I wanted to get to. If you all have ever gotten him out of the portal, you would know how amazing he is as a running back. He's the number 6 player in the portal. And at least in week 2, not a single other school was going after him. It looks like North Carolina's jumped into the picture, though. Bill Belichick, can you just focus on... I'm not going to say what I wanted to say. I think it's important that we're respectful here. I do have an interesting thought, though. is the hard sell going to be the exact same one for Austin Mack that it was last time? If that's the case, we just got a major advantage over those other schools. Now, something that's weird to me is last year we were able to go after linebackers, specifically this kid right here, but his pro potential deal breaker is not being met this time around, and I don't know what changed. It's just a little bit confusing to me. We did not get the hard sell guess correct on Whit Weeks, unfortunately. Wow, it wasn't a good guess anyway. Apparently, we did not have the grades there. Austin Mack, by the way, he was literally like half an inch away from committing to us again, but Cal has him on a week 4 visit, and I guarantee that we're going to lose this battle. As for Ahmad Hardy, we could get him on a visit, and I don't think we need to guess his hard sell. If we just get him on this visit, we should be able to lock him up. But I just have to admit, this class is not going to turn out as good as our last one, because I was so frustrated with the way our season just ended before we even got to play that I didn't want to pour in all that effort again and just watch it go away. Welch is a name that we signed last year, and we saw him get to like an 87. The more familiar I can become with all the players in the transfer portal as I keep on failing this challenge, the more experience that we get, the better I'll be at picking the right ones. Austin Mack did choose Cal because of that week 4 visit, but we got Ahmad Hardy, so it doesn't even matter. I was kind of expecting to lose Mack this time around as well, so we ended up signing someone like Akalai Smith Jr. You've seen him in a rebuild before. He was an 87. He was a backup on our last roster anyway. Looks like Campbell decided on Florida State. We even had Austin Novosad, an Oregon quarterback, a second one. And he has star development. We just want to give ourselves options that we can work with. Do we get anything like elite, though? We have yet to see an elite dev. There it is. Elite on Zach Rice. I will say the Notre Dame receiver, Jordan Faison, is very disappointing. The number 203 player in the country, but he just has normal development for the receiver. And with only 30 players signed in this class, the fewest that we have signed in a class, we're number 50 in the country. I have a hard time imagining us getting a better overall than the team that we had last year, especially since I didn't recruit enough running backs. We're going to have to move over a receiver. But we'll just have to see how these players step up in overall. Ahmad Hardy already has Platinum Shifty, Sidestep, and 360 abilities. I didn't have to upgrade any of that. We got his speed up a little bit more. We got his elusiveness up a little bit more. I think if we bump up his IQ, he might be able to hit a 94. And then at the quarterback position, we have 4 real options to choose between. I am literally just going to max out accuracy for every single one of these players and then choose the highest overall that we can get. At least for Mason Kelsey, though, who transferred in from Texas, we could only upgrade his accuracy once. I'm not even going to waste time spending the rest of his skill points. That guy is never seeing the field for us. It looks like both of the Oregon quarterbacks are at the top. And I am very excited about Malachi Coleman on this offense as well because he is 6'5", and he is 96 speed. We're going to get him to like a 90. I mean, he's just going to be very hard for teams to stop, especially inside of our conference. And I'd typically just breeze past all of our offensive line whenever it comes to training upgrades. But remember Zach Rice, the kid with elite development, the first elite dev transfer we found? Well, he has 49 skill points to spend. And that is going to take him all the way up to an 86 overall. As we prepare for this next attempt to go 17-0 after going 0-12, what I'll say about the team after training results is it's not as good as last year's. I could have cut some more players to bring up the overall a little bit higher, but we simply just didn't have that great of a transfer portal class, and we are going to be using Boise State's playbook so we can feed Ahmad Hardy. I'm basically going to leave our schedule very similar to what it was last year as well, except 55 overall Sam Houston, they are going on there instead of Arkansas State. We're not going to let them spoil our season like they did. And I would really like to get my hands on this team early, so after we sim these first couple games, we are going to play against San Diego State. I was hoping with a different playbook this year we'd perform better in sim, but Air Force was so close to taking us down. It doesn't make me feel much better, but I can overlook it for the moment because we're about to get to play with Ahmad Hardy. I can't believe the number 6 player in the portal decided on Oregon State. I mean, when you think about it, the move from playing for Missouri in the SEC to coming out playing for the Beavers at Oregon State doesn't make any sense, but it benefits us, so who cares? On a 3rd and 5, we have the numbers over there, but our offensive line couldn't block. And that's really been a major part of this game that has kept San Diego State in it. They're on a 3rd and goal, though, from the 3-yard line. If we could get them off of the field, they're going to have to kick a field goal. Send it, send it. That's a big difference maker for us. Not sure how we're going to win a playoff game or anything, just based off of what I'm seeing so far. But at least they shanked that kick as well, and we're just going to juke around. What's crazy is if we just got one big run, busted off with Ahmad Hardy, he scooped up a horrible pitch. This is why we wanted him. Look at that speed. 13 isn't going to catch him. He is in the end zone. And if there is one player that is going to give hope to Beavers fans that we can go 17-0 this season, you know who it's going to be. This game is not over, though. On 3rd and 2, if the Aztecs get this, they still have hope. They've been able to get a lot out of a drag. And let's see. Throw it up the seam. Nope. They found the open receiver. I'm going to need quarterback Pierce Clarkson to tone it down a little bit. There is no need to help them pull off the comeback. I thought we'd be able to bring him down. We do. And the timeouts have started to come out for San Diego State. But do they realize that they're pressing Malachi Coleman? See, the benefit of having a really good running back is they're going to have to commit down to stop the run. But if we can get this throw off, I mean, Malachi can just run straight underneath it. This offense is explosive. I think we can have many more moments like that one this season. And it should be no surprise that for our first Pac-12 game, we're able to close it out and get the win. Our next goal is literally just going to be making it to the Oregon match without another loss. I think our schedule's set up better. So without Arkansas State on here, we are going to open up the year 5-0, but Sam Houston gave us a scare. We barely beat them. I really don't know how to feel about this. We had the exact same amount of total yards of offense. It didn't go to overtime or anything. They were just scoring a lot of points, same as us. And this is where things really matter. If we can pull off this rivalry win that we get to host, I think we might even be ranked in the top 25. But I just have to imagine that this is a pretty lopsided rivalry. It's been a while since Oregon State has been able to beat Oregon in real life, and we might struggle the same way. That's why I am shocked that we have a chance to score the first touchdown. Ahmad Hardy fights his way in. No one could stop him. As this first half goes on, we want to continue to control the clock. If we don't pick up the first down, we could always settle for 3. But I think you're seeing why you just let Hardy get the ball. That juke saved us. I mean, he did not have a lane. He tried to make one here. It might not have been there, but we can always go to the air, or we can step up and Akili Smith Jr. can run out at the 4. I mean, for us to even be in the game right now, it's been a lot on our defense, just getting stops, and we're up 14-0. There is still a lot of time left, a lot of time for us to choke this lead. But as this game goes on, headed into the fourth quarter, we are still up by 14. It's 17-3. And I think the funniest part about this entire matchup is Oregon State's former quarterback, Malik Murphy, is Oregon's quarterback. He's not had a good game at all, but he is going to get his first touchdown. And considering that there is still 7 minutes left, I am very nervous that Oregon's going to be able to pull off the comeback. Why could we not pick up that block? On 3rd and 8, I think we're just going to have to stand in the pocket, try and hit our comeback route, but we threw it a little too soon. I could tell that they were getting pressure off of the edge, though. We didn't have a choice. It was a read option, and the right decision was made. We really had an opportunity to stop Oregon still, but it's looking like they're about to score a touchdown. I mean, momentum is on their side at the moment. They're flipping our zones around like crazy. I think we've gotten them set normal now. But with all that confusion, they can run it again. And can we force the fumble? As annoying as that was, we got lucky with the face mask penalty. And now we're going to let Hardy get about 10 or 15 on the ground. So our response is coming. This is such a big game. If we don't win this, you know what happens. What do we do about that, though, when our offensive line is just getting absolutely no blocks off for us? That could have been picked. And I really don't love this play call, but we're just going to hand it off and see if Hardy can get it. He has kept us in this game single-handedly, and he's going to keep on getting looks. But we still got to try and pass for some yardage as well. It's like some of our guys just stand no chance at catching the ball, though. We got him with RPO, and I wish I was paying more attention to the clock because we are not going to be able to run it out and kick a field goal for the win. Oregon will have a chance to respond. With that in mind, there is no reason to chew any clock. We just want to score here. The RPO gets us into the end zone as Bowers breaks a tackle. I'm pretty sure that we picked up that tight end in the portal, and we made the right decision getting him. It's too early to get excited, though. Recently, the Ducks offense has been shredding our defense through the air. And when they have a minute and a half to respond with a touchdown, that is plenty of time for them to make some plays. Can we get the sack? We do! Malik Murphy goes down. They're probably going to run 4 verticals here, but we got match coverage. Are you kidding? Just when things are looking up, he automatically sees something. And they bring in that too. See, when the Ducks start to get their momentum, I don't know how we stop them through the air. I mean, so much separation. And this is a very difficult formation to stop. They had the running lane. They're going to cut it up, and no one is close. I feel like that's not worst case scenario, though. It gives us a minute to get into field goal range and win this game. The run is not going to work. But at least since it didn't, we've had a chance to chew some clock in case this drive doesn't end well. We're going to have our drag. No, we're not. I thought we would at least. On 3rd and 6, only 16 seconds left now. Can we hit this throw? Catch it! Catch it! What a pass from Akili Smith Jr. We might look at Noah Rogers off of that edge, or we're just going to throw this up, and it's no eyes, no pick. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. With 2 throws, we have a chance to beat Oregon. And we got to lock in. We got to lock in for this kick right here. Meter's not moving too fast. I shifted it last second. But guess what? It's down the middle. Oregon State stays undefeated. This just puts us one step closer to 17-0. If we can beat the Ducks, we can beat any team in the country when we play well. And just looking at our schedule, the last game we're going to hop into this season has to be against Boise State. Since that's what we're doing, though, we're going to have to simulate against multiple teams in a row, first one being the Aggies. And it looks like Malachi Coleman went off against them with 4 touchdowns. In fact, he single-handedly outscored Utah State. He doubled the score by himself just off of the points that he was responsible for. We destroyed him. And as we have 30 coach points just sitting there waiting to be spent, I think what we should start to do is work on improving our offensive line since we're running the ball so much. At least we are whenever we hop into games. Looking at our current conference standings, the only other undefeated team at the moment is Fresno State. Our defense has been clearly better than everyone else's by a wide margin. And I think the winning streak should continue against the Rams, who are 2-5. We have definitely seen some heartbreaking sim losses in this video. I am not prepared to handle another, so thankfully it didn't happen against Colorado State. But the matchup that I'm worried about is the one at Fresno State, who just picked up their first conference loss, but they're still one of the better teams in our conference. Fortunately, though, we won this one 21-19. And that leaves us with 3 games left in the season. Boise State on the road. You know that that's the one we're hopping into. We got Texas State and Washington State as well. Both of those pretty solid programs for our conference. It's definitely going to be a pretty tough finish to the year, but if you look for a group of 5 team inside the top 25, the first one that comes up is Boise State, and the second one, well, third one, is Oregon State. Tulane is right ahead of us, but they have 2 losses while we have 0. And what all of that means is if we can just win out the rest of this season, then we should be in the playoff. That is a lot easier said than done, though. Boise State has already ruined our rebuild challenge once, and I'd really appreciate if they don't do that again. On a 3rd down, we're going to find Ahmad Hardy in the end zone through the air. He typically hasn't been catching passes for us. He's been taking carries, but that's great. Although we haven't scored much in this matchup either, we've controlled it very well. I mean, he is just so good. He makes it look like it's not on Heisman. That is how fast and shifty he is. Whenever you can break off a big run with him, it is just so satisfying. That's that Heisman shifty. And as they were flipping their defense, I was hoping that we could potentially get them to the outside, but he's tired. You know, as he gets wear and tear damage throughout the season, that is something that could potentially hold us back. I saw the size mismatch. We don't make the catch. But here's the thing, even if neither of those plays ended up being these huge gains we were hoping for, we still took care of business against Boise State. We were just trying to have fun while closing it out. And what that's done for us in the Pac-12 is it's made it so we'd play Texas State in the conference championship if the season ended right now. Boise State falls to 3rd place, but that's about to change again. Like I said not too long ago, the Bobcats were still on our schedule at 7-3. It does make me nervous to sim, but I've already hopped into the 3 regular season games that I can, and this is where it's really nice that we were able to outgain them by almost 200 total yards. We made sure that it wasn't much of a contest, and it moves us up to number 14 in the polls. I really hope that we can't reach the top 4. If we did, it would make it impossible to win 17 games. It's a good sign that we're in the Pac-12 championship, that we finished the regular season undefeated. But I guess we would have been there either way. The main good sign was the fact that our ranking did not change at all, as we beat Washington State 59-14. I'd also like to note that Noah Rogers will be healthy in a few weeks. He's one of our best receivers. He has been out with a foot fracture, so it'll be nice to have him back. If we look at the conference standings, everyone was pretty even besides us. We built this team to stand out, though. We're going to get to host the Broncos this time around instead of traveling to their stadium. Or I guess we're playing this one in Allegiant Stadium, actually. I forgot that the Pac-12 has this as a neutral site game. It really doesn't matter that much, though. I mean, you saw what we did to them a couple weeks ago, and nothing has changed since then. We went up 21-0 early. We're trying to continue making our lead even more. We fumbled that, but we scoop it up for a touchdown anyway. And that was some very lucky stuff going on. This game actually ended with the exact same score as the last one. The fact that we've been able to dominate Boise State twice now really shows how good this team is. We beat Oregon for a reason. And it took us a couple of attempts using different schools, but Oregon State's the one to complete this challenge. I believe that we can make it happen here. Ahmad Hardy won the Doak Walker Award for the best running back in the country. And I guess it's not every season that we're going to be able to pick up a transfer like him, so we've really got to make this count. If we were to go 17-0, not only would we have to beat Texas Tech, but immediately after, we'd have to take down Georgia. And that is actually a really frustrating draw to see because the Bulldogs are so good no matter what. Look at the stat line, though, from Akili Smith Jr. 33 touchdowns, 2 interceptions on the ground. We already saw what Hardy has done. And receiving-wise, Malachi Coleman, our number 1 receiver. Number 2, Chase Hendricks. I'm surprised how far down Noah Rogers is, but he was injured. And then Jordan Faison, who was our highest-rated transfer, but he didn't have a good dev trait. Enough avoiding the inevitable, though. We have made it to our first playoff game in this challenge. We went 0-12. We have now made it to 13-0. 4 straight games, would complete it. It would be possible if we could pull it off. And now that I can see that we can make it this far, there will be no giving up on this challenge if this playoff run doesn't go well. We certainly have some weak spots on this roster, and they're going to show against the better teams, but we can still win games. To do it though, I believe we need to be a little bit aggressive, especially since we're on the road, which is why we just went for it on 4th and 5. Of our 5 starting offensive linemen, we have 3 that are 85 overall pluses, and they are extremely solid. But the other 2, not so much. I'll also say our defense has a lot of holes that are going to hold us back. But we did the best that we could for compiling this team after going 0-12. And this is a huge 3rd and goal. I think we're going for it on 4th down. Maybe we should have run it here. That should have been intercepted. It's just not a good read. We're actually going to look for Hardy, our running back, on 4th down. He's open. Can he hang on? He does. Plays like that are the only reason that we're even in this game still. In the second half, offense has just been horrendous. There's a flag, and that's going to make it a 3rd and 31. I don't even know what to say. Do we stand any chance at converting here? Probably not. But we have to at least throw the ball up. There's only 4.5 minutes left. We got single coverage on Malachi Coleman, and can Malachi Coleman make the play? He does. He breaks a tackle. There is hope. I can't believe that that just worked out for us, but that's why you get a big receiver like him. Handoff, Ahmad Hardy. Now we're starting to feel a bit better. I will say, I wish we used him a little bit less during the regular season because his wear and tear has made him not as great in this game. And the stadium pulse is sure not helping either because we've not been able to pull off any audibles. Is that open, or is the corner going to make a play on the ball? You know, that was a major drive for us. I'm assuming they're going to run it, and that's why we shot through the gap. Somehow he stayed on his feet. But this is it. This is the chance that we wanted to stop Texas Tech. 3rd and 7. We see the slant coming across, and that was also our zone. For whatever reason, the Red Raiders have hurried up to the line. I highly doubt that they're going to snap this before the 2-minute timeout. And this is so frustrating because at the 37-yard line, they're probably in field goal range. I almost think that we have to let them score if we can't cause a loss of multiple yards. And we have to continue to be extremely aggressive. The blocks look good, though. Here we go. On 3rd down. No, they break the tackle, and they get the pitch off. We're going to hold them, but that makes this field goal a little bit closer. It could be the difference maker. He would have drilled that from 60. It truly is all our fault for being in this position. We're not going to be able to take down Texas Tech. If we can't beat the Red Raiders, we sure we're not going to beat Georgia in the next game. And what's it going to take to get the look that we're hoping for? I mean, we're sending up prayers. That's an easy interception for Texas Tech. Unfortunately, they have been able to take us down. We couldn't go 17-0 on this attempt, but we had a very good effort. And just judging off of the fact that Georgia beat Texas Tech 42-21, we really need to get a better roster than what we had if we're going to complete this challenge. I'm just going to have to really lock in during that transfer portal period. We're going to need some luck on our side too. It's never fun to go back to the starting grounds, get into 0-12 in the first place, but we're off to that good start. We're 0-8. We should lose the rest of these. Except look at that. There's no way we beat Washington State with a kicker running the triple option. I already know it has to be them because there's no way it was going to happen against Tennessee or Notre Dame. We couldn't score versus them. 23 points? Seriously? It's fluky results like that in the sim system that get me so worried because I could build a super team and then we have to sim some of those games and we lose and then restart the challenge no matter what. And the more that I think about it, it is kind of a weird concept to be rooting for losses so hard to want to lose games, but that's what we've been doing. In this attempt, as you can see, Washington State didn't let us beat them. So it's time to move on to the first thing that we've been doing with the Beavers anytime we've gotten winless, and that is trying to find some even better coordinators. Now, one thing that has happened every time we've gone 0-12 with Oregon State is we win the Ray Guy Award for the best punter in the country with this kid. He's gotten it every time. I just never mentioned it. But that's how bad things are. The best part about our team is our punter. Let's see these offensive coordinators. We don't have any of the names that I wanted. Honestly, just to get a tactician in Thomas Hammock might be our best one if we're not going to get a talent developer. An architect was something that I really liked last year, but now every time I see it, I just want to avoid it. It turns out, though, I wasn't paying much attention, and we didn't even get the offensive coordinator that we wanted, so this is not a good start. We might as well try and convince a couple of these players to return as well. We have had success getting Patterson to return. That's actually big. I don't think we've had success on any of those so far. Maybe there's going to be more good news as well headed into this transfer portal period. Do we have Austin Mack on our board? We don't. Austin Mack has disappeared. No chance of getting him. We might have a chance at signing Ahmad Hardy again, though. Number 6 on the board. We're going to throw him up there. And just taking a look at some of the competition that we're getting for some of the other 4 stars I've also put on our board in case we couldn't get Ahmad Hardy. Yeah, we're not going to be able to get him this time around. We're going to use those points elsewhere, but we're going to have Mark Fletcher Jr. again and Braylon Russell. Well, here on National Signing Day, I did everything in my power to try and bring in a class of 35 players, but Florida came out of nowhere. They got this right tackle from us. It's not the end of the world because we still signed most of the players on our board. You are going to see the same kid, Akili Smith Jr., quarterback that we've been using. We got 2 4-star running backs, but not just 2. We got 3 because I added LJ Martin as well. There's also some names that I really started to recognize a little bit more, like Zach Rice at center because he had his elite dev trait on top of LaTerrence Welch. He had the star dev. We can get him up to like an 88 overall corner. I will say, though, there's one spot on this team where I just couldn't get enough transfers that I wanted, and that is going to be our defensive line. I feel like it's going to end up being okay, but not as solid as all the other position groups. I can promise you one thing. I will be sitting here sweating away every single player upgrade, with the ideal goal just maxing out every player's overall and hopefully giving us a chance to go back to the playoff, maybe have a chance at winning a championship. And I'm really thinking that LJ Martin might be our starting running back with his silver sidestep that we got. He already is gold shifty. 89 speed isn't the fastest, but we made his elusiveness better. Plus, he is a power runner, 93 trucking. He's just a really good player all around, but so is Mark Fletcher Jr. Then over at receiver, we have some monsters out there that we've not had before. I think contested specialist is the best archetype you can find. It is so cheap to upgrade their route running. And it's actually going to leave Isaiah Canyon as our #1 receiver. Now, if you look at this group of guys, we don't have anybody that has shocking speed, but there's a lot of high overalls that are consistent. Same at the tight end position. We have 2 good options. And I love that we got a lot of pass protectors on our offensive line because we can just upgrade pass blocking, get that overall as high as possible. We won't even touch run blocking. We'll then go over to IQ just because that also will give it a boost. And it's kind of crazy that this is the case, but every offensive lineman that's going to be starting for us is an 85 overall or higher. Then on the defensive line, I mentioned Kelsey Howard is one of the players I'm glad is sticking around. He was the only player with star development on the Oregon State roster originally that's still there. And it's not like he becomes the best pass rusher in the country, but an 82 is going to do the job for us. We are definitely in good hands with the cornerbacks that we have on this roster as well. Jamari Sharp is an 89 overall. And we'll get to the rest of this roster in a second. We all know that Akili Smith Jr. is going to be our starting quarterback again. He led us pretty far last season. I've tried to put a better surrounding cast around him. And if I had to make an overall prediction for what we can get this team to, I'm thinking a 93. Now at the top of our roster, I'm not sure if this is the best that we've ever had during this whole video, but I feel like the depth is the best that we've ever had because there are so many high 80s that are going to be starting. And the backup players are also pretty good. Now we have to go ahead and encourage a lot of these low overalls to transfer. This will bring up our overall more than you could ever imagine. And it is time for the moment of truth. What overall is our roster going to be? It's a 99. I was not expecting that, but this is going to set Oregon State up for a lot of success in the Pac-12. If we just take a quick glance at our schedule, we're going to keep things as easy as possible for us. If we don't open up the season with 5 wins before we hop into our game against Oregon, I will be extremely disappointed. And this just feels like it is setting up to be a great season for us. We know what we're capable of. We know that we can get to the playoff, and I think we can just skip over a lot of weeks. I will say, though, if we're only beating Akron by 4 points, something is not right. Another close matchup that we had on our schedule was San Diego State. We only beat them by 3, so who knows? We could lose to New Mexico State. And I just can't believe that we've already had multiple close calls. I had to check the injury report to see what was up, and Jamari Sharp, one of our best cornerbacks, is out with a broken wrist. But it seems like in his absence, Welch was able to step in and make the big plays. What that means for us is as we head into the Oregon game, we're coming off of a 47-3 win. And I can't believe I am saying this, but the Ducks are 1-4. They are having an awful season. In fact, we are actually favored against Oregon in this game, which is something a lot of people would have never saw coming. But that only means so much. That's just odds on paper. We still have to prove that we're favored for a reason. And that blind read sets us up for a 4th and 4, where we are looking to keep this drive alive and potentially go up by 14. I felt like that was a pretty good play call. The handoff to Mark Fletcher is going to get us into the end zone. It's always nice to have a guy that just enjoys running over other guys. And as this game goes on, Oregon is just really struggling against us. We can't make that catch. We might be able to get Aiden Williams out in space here, though, depending on how they play this RPO. No one blocked for him. I can't stress too much, though. If we get a field goal, we would be up by 3 possessions. It's just nicer whenever you can get a touchdown instead. The craziest part about that is Oregon wouldn't know what that would feel like until the 4th quarter. They've been trying to pull off a little bit of a comeback, but one touchdown from us has kept us in front by 14. And I think we're just going to run some press cover 2 with hard flats out there on the field. I'm not expecting them to get anything too deep against us, but they found the space. I think we just need to call a timeout. That helped us reset a little bit on defense. And on 4th down, we tip it. I thought they caught that. I mean, at the very last second, the Ducks would get it back and score again, but they were not going to pull off the comeback. And putting the toughest game of our season behind us now, we have another 6 games that we need to win before the conference championship. I feel like Utah State isn't too much of a threat. Genesis Smith was able to win Conference Defensive Player of the Week in that matchup where we won 50-10. We still have Colorado State coming up, Fresno State on the road, and Boise State on the road might be the 2 I want to play, though Washington State could be a good game too. And I just can't believe how much better we are than every other team in our conference. Boise State is struggling this year. I mean, considering Colorado State is 5-2, maybe this is the game that we want to play. And that's exactly why we're hopping into it, though I'd imagine that we are going to be able to obliterate them by like 35. What it really comes down to is whether or not we get things started early, and we've gotten things started early. We've already been able to score 10. That makes it 17. So we are going to comfortably cruise past Colorado State, and hopping into this game might have been a waste for us. Sometimes, though, it's so hard to tell what is and what isn't. Are we going to be ranked inside the top 25? We are not, but there's also not a single group of 5 team that's up here. And so you have to imagine in the coming weeks, we're going to start getting respect since we're undefeated. It really is not helping our case, though, that the rest of our conference is just atrocious. We had almost 3 times as many yards as Fresno State on offense. And we're about to head on the road to Boise State, who is currently 5-4. I think if we just beat them here, we won't have to worry about them potentially appearing in the Pac-12 championship. And I just feel like this season we are getting wins by so much more than what we were dealing with last year. I mean, we just got off to a 21-0 start against the Broncos, and that was off of the first play of the second quarter. Now they're trying to show some life, but it just won't matter. I mean, we have lasered them time and time again throughout this first half. But here's the situation. With 2.5 minutes left, somehow they came out strong defensively. They have it within 3, except we just forced a safety to get a 5-point lead. They also have no timeouts left. We pinned them back on the 1-yard line. I was not expecting us to get a safety there, though. It's over. The 2-minute timeout saves them. I guess they could force a 3-and-out, and that is kind of likely just based off of the way they've played. Our offense has had nothing in this second half, and we had the drag. Well, I guess we're just going to need another really good punt. This one's not pinning them out of bounds at the 1. And the goal is simple in this final 2 minutes. Just don't let the Broncos get into the end zone, and we'll be walking out of here with our 10th win. Maddox Madsen has already thrown 2 interceptions in this game. We can't cover everyone, but we have to watch the running back because we manned ourselves up there, and it forces them to go to the tight end. That's going to force them to really switch things up. They're going 5 wide, but they keep on going underneath. And a big hit like that just before the first down marker is going to keep the clock running more than it would have otherwise. Maddox Madsen takes off for 4. At some point, he's going to have to spike this football. They're still going to have about 30 seconds left to beat us. But we're playing very soft coverage because we want them to complete these shorter throws. They have no choice but to hike it quick or waste another down. It's about to be 4th down. And they have only run 1 real play since they moved the chains. I don't know where they thought they were going there, but we are going to close it out. And assuming that we win those final 2 conference games, we're headed into the conference championship 12-0 again. It looks like we're going to get a playoff spot. At the moment, that last win moved us up to number 19 in the country. Tulane's at 21, just a couple of spots behind us, but they have 3 losses, so they're not going to pass us up. Air Force is 9-1. I don't think we had them on the schedule this year, but that was a team that we had on the schedule the past couple seasons. Texas State is a 60 overall. I had a feeling that we'd beat them by multiple scores, which is what happened, but we both had a good offensive game when it came to yardage. They just couldn't finish off their drives the way that we did, and if we beat Washington State, I don't know who we'd play in the conference championship. I mean, I definitely prefer if we didn't have to deal with the Broncos again. But guess what? Whenever you take down the Cougars 56-16, there's got to be someone else that makes it to the Pac-12 championship. The tiebreaker for second place was between Boise State, San Diego State, and Washington State. San Diego State actually did give us a scare, but I'd still much rather play them just because we've played Boise State a lot in this video, and they are always looking to spoil the seasons that we have. It doesn't seem to matter that we're a 99 overall team, and it doesn't matter if we get off to a quick start either. The Broncos find a way to work themselves back into about every game. We certainly are not going to complain, though, if we can go up 7-0 early. Mark Fletcher jumps over a defender. We have not seen him leave his feet before, but that's nice if he's able to do it. And look at all of this space for us to taunt them. I really don't think the guys on this team have forgotten about how we got exposed in the playoff last year. Where are we running? But like I was saying, we know that we gotta prove ourselves with this attempt because the last one didn't end the way that we wanted. What a catch! Through 2 hit sticks, he hangs onto the football. That's why you get a good tight end. I mean, in this game, we clearly learned our lesson from the last time we played Boise State because we annihilated them 41-3. We had full control of the matchup. And I wonder if we're gonna be ranked high enough to where we would get to host a first-round playoff game. I mean, we were already like number 10 in the country headed into that one. London Humphreys, Georgia's receiver, won the Heisman Trophy. Georgia is going to be very tough to take down in the playoff. We got Tyson Ruffins, though, winning the Remington for the best center. We're getting some Oregon State players on the map. Florida is the first-round game. And you know what? It could definitely be worse than the Gators. I don't want to have to play at the Swamp, though. And Georgia would be right after them if we somehow take them down. Our playoff draws have not been very favorable, but Akalai Smith Jr. only threw 3 interceptions this year on 35 touchdowns, so he's having the best year we would have ever thought. And LJ Martin and Mark Fletcher Jr. both have rushed for over 1,000 yards. We are dominant on the ground. Through the air, we've kind of stepped back, which is weird because whenever I play, I decide that we're just going to air it out. And I think we might as well just hop into this one, not wait any longer, because we know it's going to be tough. We know what happened against Texas Tech in our last attempt, but I think we can put up a better fight this time. If we're going to win against some of these big programs, we've got to control the clock, and we have to have almost no mistakes. It's a lot easier said than done, though. Through this first half, we haven't been able to score once, and we're going to get aggressive. We're going for it on a 4th and 2. They knew what we wanted. Due to stupidity, due to bad moments, we're trailing 17-0 in the 3rd quarter. It's looking like we're about to just get beat by the Gators without putting up a fight, but there's a run for a touchdown from Mark Fletcher. And after getting the Gators off of the field on our next drive, I think you know what we're going to continue to do. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to run the football because they're starting to struggle when it comes to stopping that. And can our blocks just hold for a little bit longer so Brett can turn the corner? All of this running is going to force them to try and play the run. So whenever we pull out a passing play, they don't know what to do. And I'm feeling a comeback at the moment. We got the Gators on a 3rd and 17. They take their little hitch route, but that's not enough. Then we break off a 30-yard run with Mark Fletcher Jr. The next carry, he's getting into the end zone. We've scored 21 straight on the Gators. And it's all happened so fast. I've been so locked in. We've been making so many adjustments on defense. 3rd down now. We can't get over to number 5. What happened there was we just didn't get the pass rush that we needed. What a whiffed attempted to tackle, too. These final 3 minutes are setting up to be something special. But the Florida running backs know wasn't special. We could have gotten Duke Clark in the portal if we wanted. He was just a 3-star option. On 3rd and 2, we're all over him. We're on him. And this brings up a huge call for Florida. It's on the other side of the 2-minute timeout. We're going to put a quarterback spy out there on the field. And I was on him. I was on him. If we could have clicked off a little bit quicker, we had to stop right there. There was nobody open. This time, the run isn't there. But look what the Gators are doing. They're chewing that clock down. We got the quarterback spy out, and our defensive line has got to make that tackle. We are so close to holding Florida here. I really don't think that they're going to run the football again. It's a halfback screen. It's going to be 4th and goal, and we're still calling timeouts just in case they do get this. Here we go. I'm not sure exactly who I wanted to use her, but we took this left side of the field, and we knock it loose. What a hit from Arian Carter. That was the best linebacker that we brought in during the portal. And all we need is 1 first down. We're literally just going to run the same thing over and over again. Inside zones. This time, Mark Fletcher has it. And there's nothing the Gators can do. We have won a playoff game. We have reached a new moment in the 0-12 to 17-0 challenge where we've made it farther than ever before. But we also know what team is coming up. Georgia, who has a Heisman Trophy winning receiver. And they are the best team we've played. Especially in the first few years in Dynasty, they are always so good. Penn State and Alabama is who we would get if we somehow won. And if we could have just gotten a little bit better luck with some of these playoff draws, maybe this attempt could have gone all the way, but I feel like it's almost impossible still. We cannot get off to a slow start against Georgia the way we did against Florida because they will take advantage of it. There will be no hope. And I gotta say, for both offenses, it's not looking good for either of us. This is going to be the first touchdown. Maybe it's not. We were held just a little bit short. No one has been able to reach the end zone yet, and I thought that was going to be the moment. It's been such a low-scoring game, and if we roll out, there's no one on Mark Fletcher. But you know how this goes. The second that we start having success, the Bulldogs do too. At least we were able to force a sack there, holding them to just 3. And we have somehow been able to maintain that lead throughout this entire game. With 2 minutes left, we got him on a 3rd and 6. I'm playing with Sharp, and that could have led something open deep. But I have some very good news. Georgia just called their first timeout. They're beating our man coverage easily, but they've thrown it straight up, and we're going to get it with Smith. We got it. We got it. We're going to beat Georgia. I don't think there's anything that they can do. Because even if they are able to stop our run 3 times in a row, we'll kick a field goal. We'll go up by 2 possessions. I can't believe it. It took a bad game from Gunnar Stockton. It took a lot of mistakes on their end and our defense being awesome. But we are about to do it. We are about to take down the Bulldogs. We got to kick. If they block this or something, I'm going to be really salty. It goes in. And from that point, what else could they have done? We are moving on to the semifinals. That was a much different vibe from the Florida game. There was no need for us to have to pull off a big comeback, which I appreciated. But we have Alabama in the next round. They just beat Penn State by 6 points. On the other side, Miami and Michigan, all of these teams good. So we might still be seeing a failed attempt here, but we've been able to learn a lot from it. Ryan Williams is, of course, still at Alabama, so he'll be hard to stop. And we really just need to treat this like it's any other game, like it's any other team. You know, as we approach the end of this first half, I'm pretty happy with what we've done. It looks like we're about to go up 21-14, and there haven't been as many nerves as you might expect in a matchup like this. When you have a defense that keeps on forcing turnovers and putting you in great positions, it's easy to capitalize. And I feel like we've been pretty lucky with those, as we're about to be up by 14. There's still time left, but they've been fumbling, they've been throwing picks, and I wish I could say that we had this one closed out, but we don't. They are about to get things back within a touchdown. We have to run commit and just hope that they don't score. That's really been some of our keys to success. Lots of blitzes, lots of run commits. But there it is. We give up the touchdown, and they have us on a 2nd and long. This is not the time to choke. This is not the time to blow the lead that we've built up at this point in the game. The drag's not open, but Aiden Williams is going to stay on his feet. And we have just been bailed out so hard because we did not deserve to pick up that first down there. Typically, it's the computer that gets those bailouts. Look at the blocks down the field, the reach. And now we're going for the halfback toss that they're all over. Obviously, that was not ideal. And we're going down. We should have just kept it simple. We should have just stuck with an inside zone. Now they have an opportunity to score a touchdown. And their punt return's getting a good bit as they're still on their feet. We had all this momentum we'd built up from this game, and it's gone. It's completely gone. It's on Alabama's side. We need Keelan Russell interception number 3. That's what we need, but we didn't play a hard flat. I want you to know right now, too, I'm dealing with so much fatigue. I have not gone to bed from the night before. It's now 5:28 p.m. Lots of coffees, lots of energy drinks have kept me awake for the time being, but it's catching up to me. Reason being is I'm moving tomorrow morning, but I wanted to make sure I could get one more video done before. And I only have so much time before the end of this day. We probably have a few attempts left at this challenge, or else we might fail. That would be really sad. That's why it's crucial that we come up clutch. Here on 3rd and 7, the seam was out of reach. And you'll never believe who caught that on us as well. It was Jordan Fajan. We didn't recruit him this time in the transfer portal because we found out in a previous attempt that he was no good. But now look where that got us. I don't even think we're going to beat the press here. I'm not sure why we got a streak out there. Aiden Williams, go to work, buddy. You have the size advantage. Make this catch. Come on. What's the point of having 6 inches on that guy and you can't do anything with it? It's just frustrating. On 3rd and 2, we're going to find Mark Fletcher Jr. Hang on. It was man-to-man coverage. We got the block. Downfield. Look at the effort. And that literally might just be enough for us to be able to clutch up. We are in field goal range. We're getting even farther. So I think we're good. We might run another play or two just because it will allow us to get some more yards. And that's a touchdown. We don't even need to rely on a field goal. It's going to send us on to the national championship. We might actually complete the challenge. It is the Michigan Wolverines, though, that stand in our way. I'm pretty sure they're undefeated. And for them to be 15-0, us to be 16-0, it is a battle for who's going to get the perfect season. We have definitely not had a cakewalk to get to this national championship. We have earned every second of it, so that's why I feel comfortable in the fact that we could beat them. And if we don't, it might take another perfect storm, multiple attempts to get back to this point. I don't mind admitting that we've had some lucky moments, that I've been bailed out in situations where we probably should have lost. It's gotten us this far where we're on the goal line, tying it up at 14 at the end of the 3rd quarter. From here on out, every possession matters more than ever, and we had a hard flat out there. It's going to be 4th and 1. I really wish we could have just played that ball, maybe gotten a pick 6 out of it, but they're attempting a long field goal that is easily in, and our response to that's going to need to be good. Mark Fletcher Jr. is going to continue to get carries, but the reason he's not having a huge game is their defensive line has guys that just instantly shed every time we try and get it to him, which is why instead we're going through the air. That's been very effective. We might even be able to pull out a wheel route here if they stay in man-to-man coverage and get another nice gain. And there is one guy over on that left side. We're going for a counter. We pick him up. It looked like it could have been open. We've chewed a little bit of clock off as well because I don't want there to be a ton of drives. I'd honestly much rather us just find a way to get in here and then lean on our defense. I trust our defense to get that one stop that we want. We can't break the tackle. Maybe this is where the touchdown comes in, though. They're playing it. I knew I couldn't throw it. Tough 3rd and goal. If it's zone coverage, though, we got multiple guys that we can hit, and that's the tutty. All right, here we go now. It's on our defense. Good little out route's going to make this a 1st down. How is he still up? That was absolutely ridiculous. Bryce Underwood did not transfer on this file. He's still with the Michigan, so that's been helpful. And I feel like with the way they're attacking us underneath, we're going to have to start playing some hard flats. It's not really ideal, but it's what we're stuck with for now. And that's when they find the corner. I mean, it feels like they're just going to work it down the field on us and score that touchdown. But here we go. 2nd and 9. They get another first. They get another first. We played so well on that side of the ball up until these final moments. And just look at what they're doing to the clock. They're running down a lot of it. The handoff's there. The handoff was there. I mean, they're chewing so much. They know that this is it. 3rd and 6. Come on, guys. We're putting a quarterback spy out there. Don't jump offside. I don't love a cover 4 in the end zone. Looks like it's some sort of wide receiver screen. We're on him. Okay, Michigan called a timeout. This is the game. I left the drag open. He throws it up. It's deflected. I thought he was going to find it. I would have thrown the controller. That would have been the end of the video. You wouldn't have seen another clip after that. I thought he was going to locate that ball after we tipped it. It's over. It is over. We've done it. It is possible in this game to go 0-12 and then one season after, immediately 17-0. It's like a Kurt Signetti challenge on crack. And I have to take a look at this coach contract screen just because look at how weird this is to go from 0-12 to 17-0. What's crazy too is we were able to put like 10 players on to the NFL. I was going to say it's the least talented team I've ever won a national championship with. It probably still is. But who cares? We were able to take it home with Oregon State. I hope you all enjoyed this backdrop for one final time because the next video, things will be different. But if you made it this far, check out some of my other rebuilds, like the video. I appreciate y'all. Have a great day.